The reason why I've always loved YouTube and the reason why I came onto YouTube to become a YouTuber in the first instance is because of this. Just being able to like sit down in your couch, in your house, on your table, at your desk, and just talk to a camera about something that means a lot to you. Building a sustainable YouTube career. Here's my journey. Hi, I'm Captain Awesome. This is Geekception, and I've been making videos here on the platform for the past 10 years, since 2014 essentially. And if you've been on YouTube, you would have seen several content creators here and YouTubers, big ones in fact, announce the fact that they're taking a break from YouTube. Either they're stepping away completely or they are, stepping down from whatever they're doing in that capacity and doing something different, maybe at a slower pace or in a completely entirely different sector totally. But yes, that has been going on for I think the past 2 weeks now, where tons of creators are coming out to saying, hey, we're not doing this anymore, at least not in this way. And like as a creator, and I'm sure if you're a creator who is watching this right now, you can relate, I can totally understand. And I even go one step further from understanding where, I have actually also taken a break. I burnt out, I think, around 2017, 2018. And, I took a break from 2018 to 2022, essentially. So I did not, upload or release videos in that time period. And it was a very difficult time. And I think one of the things that drove me to burnout, especially, having to leave the platform for that long period of time, and also one of the things that I think I can see in other creators as well is that, when you start your YouTube channel, you actually started with, the goal, maybe not to be a business. And maybe that has changed, right, with how YouTube has become this very big platform now, especially for people who are creating content professionally. But I definitely know that when I started, I did not, start to turn this into a business. I started because I had a laptop, a gaming laptop that I had bought. It was 2 a.m. in the morning. I just really wanted to share the videos about it. I remember I would watch I am not even kidding you. I watched every single video everybody made about that laptop, and because I was the first to receive it in the world here in Malaysia, I decided that, hey, I'm going to create a channel and I'm going to upload it and I'm going to put it out there because it's something I would watch too, right? And I think many of my creator friends I talk to, and even you who is watching me right now as well, can relate to many of this, where you started your channel or you started your YouTube career just from sharing the things you love and the things you care about. And I think that is very similar for me as well. And I am very lucky that, my channel early on at the beginning of, my career here on YouTube, I got lots of views for the videos I was making very quickly, actually. So that was sort of a very nice thing to encourage me. So I think I did this for a year plus before I got any sort of device or anything from a brand. And, from there, it just sort of snowballed into this thing where at the time I was in college when I started my YouTube channel. So I was juggling university and attending events and shooting videos and editing them and new concept ideas and proposals and all of those things. And as you can imagine, for those who don't know, I'm Nigerian. I'm currently here in Malaysia, and I've been here for, that same time period that I started my channel. So, I'm so far away from home with almost no support system. So it kind of got to a point where at the time where I burnt out and at the time where I stopped making videos was also simultaneously the time where I felt at the top of the world. It was a time where everything clicked for me, and it seemed that the only way was up until everything came crashing down. And that is for me, I really struggled with this emotion for a long time because it felt I sort of messed it up somehow, right? But thinking back to what led to my burnout and what led to me sort of getting tired of YouTube as a platform, I would say, it has many things to do with the fact that, I was just... I overworked myself, man. I was always shooting, I was always editing. Every single thing that comes to my mind is a new idea that I want to explore, and I did, And it's very funny. I'm making this. I'm saying this right now, and the time is literally almost 4 a.m. in the morning. So it seems it's the same back then, but I'm skipping the good parts. I'll still come to this, right? So, but I guess doing that, getting on that grind, and in many ways it became a thing of survival for me. Like I was in college here, I needed to be able to pay my fees, so it then became a business. Like how do I make money? And here in Malaysian a media scene and everything, most of the money is with the brands, and most of the sort of ways you make money here, because again, the AdSense revenue for Asia or Southeast Asia, where I am, is not the highest in the world. So AdSense came in, but it was not really that big of a, like I'm not a huge YouTuber, so it's not like I was making thousands. I think my best month was like, in the hundreds of dollars, right? Not even the top end. Okay, so I'm trying to let you know that it's not, I was not a millionaire from like YouTube, right? So I definitely had to like then look at what other ways I could make money. And brands here, if you have a website, they would buy advertorials or editorials. If you have a YouTube channel, ad spots or feature videos or stuff like that. And I think at the time, I had gotten into sending proposals, and while at the same time trying to do college, while at the same time trying to produce content, while at the same time trying to do all of these things. And at the time I did not know I have ADHD. And of course, YouTube as a career, or just content creation in general, tends to attract very neurodivergent individuals, or individuals who are not very typical. And I definitely am not typical. But at the time, I did not know that I had ADHD. So there's this concept in ADHD called rejection sensitive dysphoria, where, when I get rejected, and it doesn't even have to be like a big rejection. It's not like a big rejection type thing. It can just be, me sending a proposal and a brand saying, "Oh, sorry, no, we cannot do this," or not even getting a reply. It would hit me really hard. And you combine that with the fact that, I was busting my ass off, think at the time I was releasing like 5 videos a week. I was constantly thinking of content. I was constantly editing. I was constantly shooting. I think it started getting to me, and I did not even know, right? And I think I made like some update videos back then without knowing that, I was getting burnt out actually, which is always funny, right? Because you can sort of feel it, but it takes going through it and coming out of the other side to be able to recognize that, I could see that he was totally burnt out, man. So you combine that with the fact that, college got difficult. I needed to come out of school and all of those things. I needed to sort out my visa situations. I needed to, move on to a next stage of my life. And it all came crashing down. And one of the ways in which it started was that, at the time, I never said no to anything, right? I would always, every opportunity, right? Because I'm so excited about this. Like, I care about all the stuff I make, and, I care about all of those things. So I would always, say yes to new devices, new events, meetings and all of that. And I think the first sign that I noticed was how everything started piling up. Or like, first it started from one device not getting reviewed, and then 2 devices not getting reviewed, 3 devices, and then before you know it, like everything stopped, right? So obviously, like eventually it led me to like, stop. And I think one of the things that I really noticed in me stopping to make or create content here on YouTube, and in fact in general, was that I started hating it. Like, which is even me saying it out loud is like it's unimaginable, because I started this channel, and even right now I still continue to make videos for this channel because of I really care about the things that I do, and I really care about the things that I do so much so that I want to share it with another person, right? But I think that was another sign that at that time that I hated it. I hated having to think about videos. I hated having to, shoot them. I hated having to schedule them, to plan them, to edit them. It became something that when I thought about it, I just, my mind just clocked out. And I think that was the first thing. And I think, in the 3 years that I was off YouTube, I did not even pick up a camera once. I think that's how bad it was. I got a job. It was also in a related field, like it was, shooting some documentaries and all of that. But it was, purely like I did what I was supposed to do. I clocked out, and that was it. And I remember gaining like I think almost 30 kgs during that time period, because I would just eat and eat and eat and eat, and it was just my only escape to be able to actually like have or maintain some sort of sanity, right? And that was just it was such a tough period for me, because on one hand I know how much I care and how much I love doing this, and even if YouTube did not exist, I'll still have the ideas, I would still have all of those things in my mind. But on the other hand, I hated it. Like, if this is something I love so much, then why do I feel so crappy? Like, why is it that it's not improved my life by, like, at least, like, where I did not need to think, oh man, I need to survive every month. And I think, because when you start out first as a creator, right? So you are an individual creator, right? And then, let's say for me, the devices started coming in, the brand started coming, and all of that. So I felt, okay, this is going somewhere, this is potentially something I could do. So I invested more money in equipment, bought more gear, which meant I had to, like, spend more money, right? I spent also, I think something that we also don't consider is the fact that, when you buy more equipment, it requires more time for you to dedicate to understanding that equipment, to using it properly, to be able to produce stuff at the level you were. So it's like you are at this level and you say, okay, if I get ABC, it will take me to this level. But then what you don't realize is that, okay, you've bought ABC, but you don't automatically get to this level. Now it requires, like, all of this effort to now get to this level. So whereby before you were doing this effort and you could get this, right? Now you have this, but you also need to now account for this, which you never account for, right? You don't think, oh, this is something I need to think about. So because of that, like, I found myself, really, really stretching myself thin, and all of the worries and everything. I started getting panic attacks. I got, I started having feelings of unaliving myself again. I had to go to therapy again. And eventually, 2 years down the line of therapy was what led me to realizing that, I had ADHD, and, there's stuff such as comorbidities and depression and rejection sensitivity and all of that. But it was a journey, definitely. It was, a period where I had to just step out, right? And if you're at that stage of your journey right now where you've stepped out, or you're just, you're just right about to step out, I would say, yeah, do it. Like, do it. Like, there is nothing more important than your health, your physical health, your mental health, your health of your family and all of that. And if it's about making money and being able to survive, I would say, there are many more ways to make money that would not absolutely destroy who you are, which leads me into the next section, right? That because, like, I started my channel, and I know so many creator friends, and it might even be you as well, who start their channel because of how they feel or how passionate they feel. It becomes very difficult to actually separate, like, who you are and, like, what you do, right? So, like, you become what you do. And I see this even right now, like, I still see it in so many of my creator friends where, they are thinking about videos all the time. They are thinking about content all the time. Their entire life, their entire schedule revolves around videos and publishing content, right? And I guess I was also there as well. And it's not a fun place to be, even though it feels like it. It feels good in the moment. Like, I would not say good, I would say it feels like that's what you should be doing, right? It feels like, oh yeah, I should be absolutely taking advantage of the algorithm, of my audience, of, trying to, double down on what works, which is the advice you get all the time, right? But what many people, including myself, did not realize is that you need other stuff, man. Like, your health matters. Because most of the time, like, why would you go to the gym, or why would you go run, or why would you go for a walk when, videos are pending, and, like, you have to edit all of this, and you have to post to TikTok, and you have to post to YouTube and all of that, right? Like, why would you do all of that when you can just, like, sit down at home and just continue and finish the edit? And, like, you're like, yeah, when I finish this video, I'll have time. But then that the next video is going to come around. Y'all are not going to believe it, but, like, my recorder here died, so I had to, like, charge it for, like, an hour. And okay, where was I? I was talking about how YouTube becomes your life, right? It engulfs every single part of your life, and then slowly, like, everything just revolves around your schedule, right? Everything revolves around keeping yourself in this hamster wheel. And the tragedy of it is that because it is also where, let's say you probably, you've invested so much, this is where you are, going to be able to pay your bills from. There's also that added pressure, right? And because, like, the job is one that, I think the MKBHD video, which if you've not watched it, definitely go check it out. I'll leave it in the description down there. Where it's like, in other jobs, like, you have input, right? Like you do something and then there's output. There's a specific amount of output. You do a certain hours of work. This is what you get out of it. But with YouTube, it's not like that at all, right? Like you can spend all the time you want on a video, and then like that video flops, or you don't spend any time and that video does well. And it's crazy. And I've seen it drive some of my creator friends insane when they talk about the algorithm, and they talk about how much they hate it, and they talk about how much it sucks that they have to do thumbnail optimization. They have to, do tags and titles and editing, fast editing, slow editing, new editing, old editing, like they're so sick of it. And I think now, after taking my break, I get it now. But, before I was like that too, right? Even many times I have to remind myself, right? Which brings me into the next section of coming back into making videos again. I think I had to be very honest with myself. I'll tell you that. I had to be very honest with myself as regards to what are my motivators, right? And when I first started, my motivation was just basically turning on my camera and just sharing the stuff I loved. But eventually you realize, okay, then there's so many things attached to the stuff that you love that are not fun. And those things sort of drag down the entire experience, right? So because of that, before I even got back into making videos, I think I'll just, go to my job. And I'm not sure if I'm repeating this because the camera died, and I'm not sure if I already said this before, but if I said this, well, who cares? If not, then okay, you still benefit anyway. But how I got back into making content after, the break, the 3-year break, was just mainly about how, I was going to work every day, paying my bills, trying to do the best I could. And, one of the things that, sort of kickstarted me on that journey was then when I would take my iPhone and I would just take photos. And, that was it. I did not expect myself to do anything more. And the more I did that, I think for a couple of months, the more enjoyable it was. So I was like, hey, why don't I, take this with my camera? I did it with my camera as well. And before you know it, one of the time I went out with my partner and we were at this museum. I recorded vertical video of all things. I'm not a TikToker. I don't make vertical video, but I just felt compelled at that museum, which is something I at that stage, I had not felt for such a long time, right? The compulsion to just make something, no matter where I don't even care whether I shoot vertical or not. I didn't. I was just I just want to make it. I made it. That footage was on my phone for I think 5 days, 6 days. I would wake up every single day, shower. That's the only thing I'm thinking of. But I was so scared. I'm not going to lie to you. I was scared because, I think the first fear I had is that what if it's the same as before? What if I start editing this video, or if I start shooting this video, or if I take this video further, it's just going to bring me to the place that I tried so hard to escape from, right? I think that was one fear. Another fear was also what if when I do this, I'm going to lose myself again, right? I'm going to, all of these years that I've spent sort of trying to, get myself back on track, and then I'm going to go back there again, they say, they always say doing the same thing and expecting a different results, right? And that was also another thing on my mind. And I think the third fear is and this is something as a creator, I think you would be able to relate very well to me. But if you're not a creator, it's going to be very difficult to relate, which is just it knocks your confidence, man. Knowing that shit, okay, I'm going to make a video after not making it in a long time. Do I still got it? Does anybody still care? And let's say I've been at 23,000 subscribers for the past 6 years now. And, when I was not uploading videos regularly, I got demonetized, which means that I wasn't even making any money in that time period. And I was losing subscribers. The brands that before my email was always full with email, hey, you want to check this stuff out, or you want to check that stuff out? Boom, automatically, over the first I think year and a half, it slowly reduced until it stopped altogether. I stopped getting any emails. So yeah, there was like that fear of like, man, am I still relevant? Like, does anybody care? Do I care? Like, does anybody care about the stuff I do? Like, do I even know how to do it anymore? And I think, because I also care a lot, right? Obviously, I thought, okay, if I'm going to shoot this video, let me do it the way I normally do it, right? Which is, set up my camera properly, my lights, shoot it in log profile, which is like the super nice one and all of that. But I think it was just something that, okay, I decided like, okay, if I did that, I'll sort of get in my own way. So I decided not to do that. I just, came back home from work one day, I think, turned on my camera and I just shot it. Like I just shot it. And obviously this is a tech channel. This channel I'm uploading to right now. So I didn't want to upload the video there, and it was like a vertical video as well, right? So at that like stage, like short was not, this was like early 2022, like short was not very popular, right? So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to put it on my TikTok, and it's just like your TikTok. It's like the TikTok we all opened during pandemic, which we all used to, check out stuff there while we, just while time away, right? So it's that TikTok account. It's not like a professional TikTok account or anything. I think the only video I'd uploaded there was just like, for fun only. So yeah, I uploaded it. That video like blew up and I was like, whoa, what's going on? And, obviously the first instinct when your video blows up, I think I got like 100,000 views in like the first day or something. Is like, yeah, let me double down. Let me do the same thing again. Let me try to, cash in on the audience. Let me try to do all of that. But after being on my burnout break for like that time period, I decided like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I didn't really feel compelled to make that kind of video again. So I didn't. I just left it. And, everything in me was screaming. Everything in me was screaming at me that, hey, no, just make a follow-up video, make a response video, make something, do something. But I didn't. And boy, am I glad I didn't, actually. Because like, I would not know it at the time, but that was sort of the origin of how I started learning in very little ways to sort of listen to myself, right? And this then leads me to my next section of like, listening to myself meant that when I then decided that, okay, I think it's time that I'm going to start making YouTube videos again. And I think it's time I'm going to start uploading again. I had to be honest with myself. I had to tell myself that, hey, listen, like, what do we care about? We care about, we care about checking out stuff. We care about sharing it with someone, even if sometimes it's just myself. We care about making sure that we don't feel like shit doing it. We care about, making money. And again, making money for me, it's not like I don't want to make millions. I don't care about millions. I just want to make enough that, I can take care of myself, that I can take care of my family. I can, afford to like, go on the vacations or whatever it is. And, it's not like I'm going to need to beg people for money. So just make just enough that I'm okay. Do I want to expand and have a team and, have editors and have writers and have all of this? Before I would have said yes, because of course, the volume of what I always did before, right? Like how many products I received and all of that, I absolutely needed to be able to like, offload some of that to help. But coming back to it, I decided like, you know what? No, I don't think so. Cause I think, I think it was Caleb Pike in his home video. Again, I'll link that in the description as well, where he was like, some things are not meant to scale up, man. Like some things are not meant to, you're not meant to like, become a corporation and, have like 10,000 people working for you, create this machine. Maybe not everything is meant to be like that, right? And for me, I sort of had to agree that, yeah, I don't think that is meant for me. Like, I don't think I would, thrive well in a place where instead of doing this and sitting in front of my camera at 5 a.m. in the morning now, and, being able to do this without feeling guilty that I'm, robbing someone of their sleep or something. If I were a corporation and then I had this idea, I could probably just call up, one of my, employees and tell them that I need this at this time. And I don't care what you're doing. I just need you to get on it. Right. And like, I don't want that. I can do this by myself and that's fine. And I enjoy it. Like, in fact, I love it. Like, my camera died. I use ChatGPT as like my transcriber. So I just open my notes app and my ChatGPT and I just talk and it helps me like sort of, take all I've said and just like, transcribe it. I did that for this video already. And like, I think I spoke for like almost 15 minutes only for it to like say, oh, we have a problem with our servers. And then it never saved any of what I said, right? That was the first setback. The second setback for this video is like, I'm recording, my mic died and I had to charge it for like another hour. And then before I come back here, another setback. But look at me, like I'm okay. Like the world has not ended. Like I can just shoot it again. Like sure, there are some things I said the first time around or the second time around that I wish I could have said, but so what? Like this is the moment that is happening right now between me and you. Like that's the most important thing, right? And I think because I took that break and because I had to sort of, really, really be honest with myself, it has, made it definitely way more easier, I would say, to be able to be in situations like this where stuff like, losing footage or whatever. Like I remember I got the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. I opened the box, I set up my cameras, my lights, everything. Recorded, finished recording. Well, I thought I recorded because I finished recording only for me to look at my camera and realize that I never hit record. So that footage is gone. So that means I don't have an unboxing clip. And I was fine too. So, and I think that's one of the things that changed for me when I decided and, was honest with myself about what I actually wanted was that, now it's no longer a do or die. If it fails, then, I can just try again. When I then came back to YouTube last year, 2023, as, full time now. I left my, all the other commitments I was doing. I reduced most of them so I can come back to doing YouTube. And, I'm not monetized because I'd already been demonetized. So it's not like as if I made any money from YouTube last year. I made zero from YouTube last year, right? But I think one of the things that really helped was like, I knew that, okay, when I talked to brands, I was very honest about what I wanted. So now I realized, okay, because of my ADHD and obviously because of my diagnosis and I'd been taking medications, I knew that, okay, because of the way my mind worked, when I do so many devices, one after the other, what drove me to hating it was just how little time I had with each device. It was how it became very boring very quickly. It was how it became very tedious, worrying about all the other stuff apart from the actual thing that I care about. So one of the things I decided that I'm going to do on coming back to YouTube was that I was not going to do loans anymore because, loans, while they're great for you to be able to get, use a device that you could not afford previously, they became this trap where I had like so many devices on loans, and I had to like, do this one, then do this one, then do this one, then this one, then return it back, knowing I do not want to get back to that schedule again meant that I, communicated to almost all the brands that, hey, listen, I don't do loans anymore. So if you're going to come to me to say, hey, you want me to check out something, it's either you're sending it to me permanently or we're working out another situation that works for both of us, but I cannot do them anymore. And I think, initially everything in me screamed, man, that is like, don't do that. Like, don't do that. But I'm so glad that I did that because it then meant that, there's automatically this filter where the brands that did said, okay, we're cool with that, tended to be more relaxed with me. They tended to understand, let's say if I take my time, and I do take my time, right? I talk a lot. I take so much time, like, testing a device or using it, trying it in different scenarios, then, coming out with content like maybe like a month later or something, right? But that then means that I already know a lot about it and I can talk from a position of authority as opposed to, I've looked at this for 5 minutes. Here's what you should think about it. Like, instead of that, it's more of like, okay, I've looked at this for like a month or 2 months and here's what you should know because I've gone through every single thing I can possibly go through with about this device, right? So I like that. Last year I got to do that. I got to be honest with myself about the fact that, some of the brands in the past where, I had made so many videos about their products or whatever. And then, remember the time I said I dropped, I stopped doing videos and, I stopped making reviews. Well, some brands had sent me some devices, which I never got to make a video about. And so I think I got blacklisted for some of the brands. So even when I came back to making videos again, those brands have not gotten in touch with me. And, I had to be honest with myself and said, hey, you know what? We're good with that. We are cool with that, right? Like, it's fine. It's okay if that happens too, because you know what? The world is cold, man. Like, you could do 10 great things for someone and then the one thing you don't do that's what they're going to remember. So I had to always remind myself that, you know what? The business is protecting their interest, and that's perfectly fine. I'm protecting my interest as well. Like, that means that, you know, like, if I've done so much in this regard and like, I'm not getting a reciprocity, that's okay, because at the end of the day, there's no need for me to be mad, because if I then go back to, hey, remembering why I'm doing this and remembering some of the truths I've told myself, then it's fine. Anybody can behave how they want to behave. That's up to them, right? So that meant that I really got to last year work on content that before I would not have time for. Like, you know, before I'm so busy being on that hamster wheel that I did not have enough time for depth. I had time for width. And, you know, there were, of course, it's not, you know, clear black and white, right? There were times where I did have both width and depth, but majority of the time there was just not enough time for it. Like, and even till today, when I speak to other friends in the media space here in Malaysia, you know, they're always telling me how tired they are, how they're so jam-packed with so many devices, so many events and everything. And, you know, I feel that, like, cause like I have been there, right? And I think for me now, it's very funny. Like, you know, most of my days are not packed with events. I think this entire year I've only gone to like 2 events, and the entire year I plan on going to less than 10 events the whole year. So definitely for me, it's really slowing down the pace and knowing that I can decide to do stuff differently. And I think end of last year, and I made it in the update video I posted at the beginning of this year, where this year I've decided to do more long form stuff like this one. Like, this video, as you can see, has minimal editing. It's just me sitting down, talking to you, saying my thoughts at like 5 a.m. in the morning. And I think this is what the spirit of YouTube is, right? Like, you strip back all of the, you know, all of the production, all of the script writing, all of the, you know, theater around how YouTube is supposed to be. The reason why I've always loved YouTube, and the reason why I came onto YouTube to become a YouTuber in the first instance, is because of this. Just being able to like sit down in your couch, in your house, on your table, at your desk, and just talk to a camera about something that means a lot to you, and knowing that somewhere across the world, in front, you know, in your next door neighborhood or wherever it is anybody's watching from, they can relate in one way or the other. And there's just a beauty in that, right? And I think that's sort of the roots I'm going back to. And I think one thing that really helped also during, like, you know, even last year, I think, when I was in a slump period, was also realizing that, hey, watching back all of my old videos, right? Watching back that guy who started this with all his enthusiasm and all the videos. And, you know, I got into this routine where I was like, you know, I dreaded scripting. I dreaded, you know, putting down my shot list and all the shots I should have. I dreaded sitting down to edit and how all the effects I had to use. And I think watching back all my old videos with like 1/10 of the gear that I have, 1/10 of the wisdom, 1/10 of the knowledge, 1/10 of like even my bank account. At the time, I was extremely broke as a student. And watching that guy just have a go at it with no manual, no script, no plan, just vibes, was really refreshing to see, like, maybe all of the journey I've gone on to become sophisticated has sort of gotten in the way of just like, hey, you turn on your camera, you have something you want to talk about it, you turn off your camera, you bring it into your computer. Okay, if there's some things you need to put on top of it, you put it on top of it and you publish it, and that's it. And, you know, all the algorithms, your thumbnails and all of those things, yes, they might be important, but, you know, is that more important than just having fun? Is that more important than just, you know, being able to do this without hating yourself every single day? And, you know, if you're not a creator, maybe you don't understand, and that's fine. This video is not for you. You know, I'm glad you're watching it. It's definitely going to help my watch hours, but it's not for you. But as a creator, you definitely know that, you know, you might be at the top of your game, like the best place you could ever be. But when you hate it, when you hate yourself, when you hate everything you're doing, like, then what's the point then? Right? And I think that's one of the sort of closing remarks I am leading to, which is where, okay, moving forward, how do I plan to have this as a sustainable thing, right? So, it's always checking in with myself and asking myself, like, hey, am I enjoying this? Is this something that I like? And it's very funny because, like, I have the S24 Ultra, right, with me. And I was in the city. I had the phone. I had like the Z Flip 5. I had other phones, and I was supposed to shoot like this comparison video. But the moment, I'm not even kidding you, okay? The moment I took the phone and the other phone and I wanted to shoot, my mind immediately was like, nope, we don't want to do this. We don't want to do this. And I just stopped. And that was big for me, because before I would have pushed through it. I would have been like, no, the phone just came out. I should take advantage of the algorithm or whatever bullshit. And I'm glad I didn't, and because I didn't, it's what has given me the ability to make this video, right? This video where, maybe it's one person that watches this all the way to the end, but great. And maybe that one person is me. Will probably be me. I do watch all my videos to the end multiple times over and over again. So yes, like, even if that's just the entire purpose of this video, I am cool with that. And the reason why I can do all of that is because I'm not stuck editing a comparison video that I hated making and I hated shooting, and now I will hate editing as well, because the algorithm will favor it, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is diversifying where I make money from, right? So because here in Malaysia, the brands are usually where you make the most money from. So most of the people who create full time have to optimize for that, right? So I think one of the things I started doing last year was that I did not do a lot of brand deals. And in fact, the only things I did were just for product, like the TV that I have here and some of the other things, but no cash, was passed to me, because I realized that, hey, there's a lot of unspoken and sometimes very spoken rules about what you can say, what you cannot say, what you can do, what you cannot do. And I just cannot live with that. I cannot live with having to edit myself because a brand is going to get mad that I said something or not, right? So because of that, like, I realized, okay, I'm probably not going to do a lot of brand deals, and the brand deals I'm going to do, they're going to be hyper aligned, right? Hyper aligned with the way I do things, hyper aligned with, the way the brand already does things. So it's probably a brand that I already like, or it's a brand that does things in a way that I know that I don't have to sort of, myself to be able to, or like, I'll bleep that out, but I don't have to like be able to like be lesser of myself just so that I can say, oh yes, this is the greatest thing in the world, right? So in that spirit of diversification, another thing I started doing last year was consulting, which is, I have so many friends who are like, hey, Captain Awesome, how do I start my YouTube channel? How do I start my TikTok? And, my TikTok last year, which was, filled with most content like this, which is just, me sharing myself without trying to edit it as much. It went from like 5,000 followers to like 66,000 followers within like, I think 3 months of me uploading constantly. So I obviously got a lot of people who were like, how did you do that? Like, what did you do and everything? And, yeah, like, so I was like, hey, yeah, pay me for it. And people started paying me for that. So that was great to be able to see people, pay me for the things I know. And most of the stuff I know is just this, right? It's just telling them that, hey, what do you care about? Hey, do more of that. Do more of what you want, right? So that was that. This year I plan on launching some digital products, like a Notion template I've been building called the Awesome Relationship Tracker. Because of ADHD that I have, I rarely keep in touch with my friends. So I collected all their birthdays. I tracked I sort of just noted the last time I spoke to them, and it will have like reminders to like, tell me like at a glance, I can see this week, okay, I should contact these people because I spoke to them last like 3 weeks ago. So I created that as a Notion template. I used ChatGPT, in fact, to be able to create some of the formulas to calculate some of the fields. So something I'm really proud of. I'll probably put that up for sale. I'm not sure if it's for sale, for free, and then you can like pay me whatever you want or something. I'm not sure yet, but that's something I'm doing, and I'll be doing more of that this year. Just sharing some of the side projects I do for fun already, and just putting it as much as possible. So, people have opportunities to be able to support me in more than one way, which is just through my videos. The third is AdSense, right? Which is, one of my biggest goals for this year was to get monetized. And thankfully, I think just last week, 10 days ago, I think 10th of January, 2024, I got monetized again. So one of the videos I had made, at the end of last year, where I decided that I was going to start doing long form content again. The What's on My ROGLI video, it's 22 minutes. It's long as heck. But that video single-handedly got me like 3,000 watch hours that I needed to be able to get monetized again. So that was great. Being able to see that, hey, yeah, just going back to my roots and doing the things that feel comfortable for me can also, get me that like monetization again. So, it's just, making sure I just create quality content like I always have. And, instead of like this video, instead of trying to edit myself, trying to make it a bit more tighter, a bit more cleaner, whatever, algorithm, fast edits, fast cuts and all of that, it's just, maybe doing that if I feel like that's what the video requires, or not doing that if I feel like it will get in the way of just what I'm trying to convey, right? So I'm letting the content, or I'm letting the intention lead the content, as opposed to the content leading the intention, right? Which is that, hey, if the intention of this video is to be able to share all of this, I'm not going to be thinking, man, I think this video is long, I should shut up, or I should keep quiet. Yeah. If you're not going to watch it, you're not going to watch it anyway. So it's fine. It's not for you. But if you're here, then you will be here. So like, why am I editing all of that, even, guessing in my own way, right? So I think that's what I'm going to be doing. And, I enjoy watching content like that, and I think there are other people in the world who are like me, who will also probably enjoy watching content like that. And hopefully they're able to see this, and they're able to see some of the other stuff I make as well, right? So because of that, that's another thing. And, it's just leaving up myself open to possibilities. And because my schedule is not packed all the time, I'm not, eating my feelings away. I'm not, stressed all the time. I could probably do with better sleep. But because of that, I'm able to, easier do projects that before I would not be able to do. Like, I made a skit for like one of the videos on my channel. And before, I would have never been able to do that because I'm so busy. Who has time to like shoot skits? That video took me like a week to make, like a week every single day, right? Because there's so many components to it. So, but I can do that now, right? And I think that's what I'm excited about, right? For all those projects. So, and I think wrapping it up, in case you skipped all the way to the end, or you've been with me from the beginning, which I really appreciate, is, how I'm seeing this right now. And that's also why I'm making this video for my own self, actually, so I can watch this in the future. And I hope it helps you in some way or the other, is to be able to just build this sustainable YouTube channel. It's realizing that it's a long game. I've been on YouTube 10 years. Do I have the most subscribers at this 10 years? Have I made the most money? Have I done the most brand deals? No, I have not, and that's okay too. The reason I do all of this is, to be able to give me a chance to get all of those things, to get money, to get brand deals, to get views, subscribers, people that care, people that, find it useful. I'm not going to lie and tell you that, it's not because of that, because I'm a purist, right? It is. I mean, we all have reasons we do things, but I think even more important than that, it's realizing that even like, you consider that, and then you consider the fact that it's more important actually to just make sure that I'm always consistently checking with myself and doing the things that feel comfortable for me. And, I say comfortable not as an excuse that, I'm not going to challenge myself or whatever. Like, I'm shooting this at almost 6 a.m. in the morning. So it's not like, when it's a certain time I clock out, right? Because it's not that. And that's why it's very scary, right? It's very scary because it seems very similar to what came before it, which was like no boundaries, shooting all the time, doing it all the time, which it kind of feels like that now, but it's not, right? And I think that's one of the things I learned during my break, is learning how to tell the difference between both, right? And I think being able to move forward now is realizing that, okay, because I can tell that, I can better choose the brands I work with, the devices I cover, the opportunities I chase. And, I think that is what plays into what makes this sustainable in the long term, is making sure that I always center what I feel first. Like, if I'm comfortable first, if this is something that aligns with, where I am and where I want to be. And I think, wrapping it up, thank you so much for watching. What stage are you at if you're a creator? I would definitely love to know what you feel. And, if you're not a creator, what did you learn from this video? What do you think? Let me know as well. And, I'm going to go to bed, probably going to edit this, very minimal edits again, and publish it as soon as I can. But I hope you take care of yourself. I really wish you well, whatever stage of the journey you are at. This is not hard. And, as creators, people or regular people, don't have a lot of sympathy, right? Or even empathy, because they say, oh yeah, you're a YouTuber. Oh, my life is so hard. I'm doing my dream job. Oh, boo-hoo. And, but again, it's not for them, right? Like you have to realize that, it's like, well, what do you care about? Well, what makes you happy? And maybe it's not having the most subscribers. It's not having, office space with multiple employees and all that. Maybe it's not any of those, or maybe it's that, but you have to just give yourself a chance to understand what that is. And, it's a journey, and, it's a journey you can only go on by yourself. So thank you so much for watching, this video. It's been a long video, but this is exactly the kind of content that is coming to me right now. So that is exactly what you're getting. I really do hope, you stay safe, you take care. Please leave your channel, link down below. So I know you made it all to the end. You can put hashtag, what hashtag will I see? Okay. What do I see around me? Okay. Flower. Okay. So put hashtag flower and a link to your YouTube channel. So I know you made it all the way here. So I can subscribe to your stuff. I can check it out. If you want to get on a call, or you want to, chat with me about whatever it is you might be feeling, I would definitely love to do that as well. If you've made it all this way here, at least that's something you're getting. And that's something I think, I will be able to offer because, hey, I have time. Okay. But other than that, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, especially for future Captain Awesome. When you're watching this, I really do hope, you have continuously stuck to what feels good to you and what gets you up in the morning to create. All right. That's it. Stay safe, stay awesome. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.